हेलो एवरीवन, रज़िया मशकूर, वतन की बात हम वतनों के साथ। आज हमारे साथ हैं मोनिका गिल। मोनिका गिल के बारे में मैं इतना कहना चाहूँगी कि शी इज़ द बेटी, daughter of Boston. She went there and she did great movie with some great name, I would say. Jippy Grewal, you know, and then Diljit Dosanjh, and then you worked with in Firangi with Kapil Sharma and so many others. मोनिका, आज हम मोनिका से फिल्मों की बारे में बात नहीं करेंगे, हम बात करेंगे मोनिका से जो आज हमारे मुल्क में जो जिस तरह का प्रोटेस्ट चल रहा है किसानों को लेकर, जिस तरह हमारे किसान जो अन्नदाता हैं, जो पूरे मुल्क को खाना खिलाते हैं, they are suffering very badly. Or in this cold weather, millions people are there sitting outside on road, on trucks में और इसमें they are the people who feed India. और उसके बावजूद आज वो सबसे ज्यादा सफर कर रहे हैं। और अगर मैं थोड़ी सी इमोशनल टच की बात करूं तो फार्मर आर देयर टू सेव देयर जमीन, जो खेत खलियान है उनके, और उस प्रोटेस्ट में ये कहना कि ये खालिस्तानी है, ये पाकिस्तानी है, दे आर एंटी नेशनल, आई मीन दिस इज द वर्स्ट थिंग आई वुड से कि किसी भी एक ऐसे इंसान के साथ या ऐसे जम्मे गफीर के साथ जो अपने हक की लड़ाई लड़ रहा है, आप उसको ब्लेम कर रहे हैं, which is the worst part. What do you think, Monica?
So जो बॉर्डर पे लड़ते हैं ना, वो किसानों के बेटे होते हैं. In order to send your son to die on a border, you have to have enough love for your zameen, for your land, to be like, this is worth dying for. ਬਾਣੀਆਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਪਣਾ ਪੁੱਤ ਭੇਜਦਾ,
of course,
ਨਾ ਆਹ corporates ਵਾਲੇ ਭੇਜਦੇ ਆ, ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੇ ਜ਼ਮੀਨ ਬਾਹ ਕੇ ਖੂਨ ਪਸੀਨਾ ਇੱਕ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਨਾ, ਮਰਦੇ ਉਹੀ ਆ. Because that love is there. It's love that transcends political parties, a political agenda. When you talk about loving land, you can't toil endless hours, on your field and then be like, but you know what? I'm not going to love this land and I'm not going to die for it. The people at the border are children of Kisans. It's strange because when it comes to your most dangerous and again, the China-India border, look up the details of that. Majority of your army men over there are Sardars. Children of Sardars, children of Kisans.
Yep.
Either that or they're Haryanvi Jats. People who, you can't discuss sentiments without going back to what India is and what India was. The reason why, even living abroad amongst Indians, amongst Punjabis, and just all communities in general, there is this sense of nationalism and patriotism that you don't find within countries, is because India is basically based off of agriculture. More than 86% of people that live in India are farmers. और वो प्यार वहीं से आता है, because I grew up from 8 months to 4 years old in kids. I grew up seeing what my grandparents and grandmother, what they've done, how many hours that they've worked there. Obviously, my dad was in the US. I've never seen my dad work in fields, but I've learned from him. I've heard from him the stories. And when you have people like bloody Daler Mendi saying sweet potato and mustard grow in Punjab, yeah, I laugh at him. Like, what grows where? And you're telling me that you are going to explain to me and make me believe that these bills are in support of farmers. That's like somebody coming to me and saying, Monica, in acting, you can't decide your own price. The people who make the films, they're going to decide what to pay you. You have no conversation in this. What am I going to do? I'm going to throw up my middle finger at them. And, and I don't mean to be vulgar in this, but I think people don't understand the emotion attached within it. When you're calling someone who feeds the nation a terrorist. Okay, now let me make this very clear. In Bihar, where the APMC is already taken away, the same, I want to say, price, or I think it's for a quintal, is like rice is 900 rupees. In Punjab, Haryana, it's about 18 to 1900 rupees. Okay. Now, yes, Punjab and Haryana has doubled the price, but that's because the APMC hasn't been taken away yet in Punjab. However, when this rice and wheat is sold across the nation, there is a lot more money made by people who sell it than what the farmers actually pocket. Yet they've never made an issue out of it. Yes, now MSP and guaranteed buyer is an issue, but the issue is, the bigger issue is that almost seems like, yes, we were in debt before, but now they've taken this debt and made it an excuse to take our land. In these bills, now I just want to add that unlike American legislation, which is wordy and complicated, these bills are not complicated to read. They are not complicated to understand. Anyone who is, even slightly educated or has some sort of sense can pick up on things. For instance, there is, I forgot which of the three bills this is in, but there's a clause that states that, okay, so the corporate set the price and the farmer has to, provide whatever it is. But if it doesn't fit the criteria set by corporates, they can say this is not okay.
Yeah.
And whatever debt that the farmer has to them, if they can't pay it off, they have to pay it off by handing over their land.
Yeah.
Those are the kind of things that are causing issues. We've turned this into an MSP issue.
No, it's not about MSP. It is about giving the land or farmer to the corporate. This is the basic first two bills they introduce, and हमारे जो farmer हैं, they are against with these two bills. So, but government is still not listening. अभी तो कितना हमारे 18-17 दिन हो गए हैं, 16 दिन हो गए हैं, and government is not in mood to take back that bills. What do you think?
For instance, jo Haryana ke Chautalas hain, they've gone to have a conversation. At this point, the government has says you can change whatever you want in the bill. You can change whatever you want, just don't ask us to repeal it. That is where the conversation is at. And that they're doing that to save face on an international platform. But for someone like me, when you've called my ancestors, my grandfathers terrorists, I want the bill repealed because I want the international media now to say, you know what, they were wrong, actually. They repealed the bills. They were wrong. These people were right. Maybe we were wrong to label them as anti-national. If the bills were in favor, at least one state in all of India would have stood up. This 250 million does not come from Punjab and Haryana.
Absolutely,
it comes from Bihar, who's already, faced the worst of this. It comes from Assam. It comes from Uttar Pradesh. It comes from Madhya Pradesh. Tamil Nadu just showed up. Rajasthan is, I'm Rajasthani. Like that's where my fields are. All of India has come up because your fields, everybody is looking at this like, whoa, I'm getting screwed. So
somebody has I am today they some farmers came and beat him. Some BJP leader, he has a slogan in their hand ke, we are Khalistani, we are Pakistani. They were saying, and then people realized, the farmer realized that he is such a person, and he beat him. Him a lot.
I saw that.
I mean, see, branding the farmer on another issue.
So let me explain to you what's going on. So in the US, when Trump was running for election, you know how they say there was Russian intervention, that they were intervening in the election? The way they were doing it was bots on social media, on Facebook, on Instagram. So that's what's going on. There's an IT cell that are being paid to comment, paid to, misinform, paid, to kind of fulfill propaganda. Now, this is an honestly Kisan issue. And what is being, done is basically a misinformation campaign has been launched to brand the protests as something else. as a youth, as a member of the Punjabi community in America, we are very well aware of it and we are fighting it tooth and nail. And it's in what people don't understand is that unlike the Indian community globally, this niche Punjabi community is very, very organized. We see what you're doing and we're going to fight tooth and nail to prevent it. For someone like me, my heritage is about to be erased. Every youngster,
Yep.
who's seen what our grandfathers has done, who is so defined, by being Punjabi, by being the son of the soil, being a daughter of the soil, that is my heritage. That is a definition of who I am. When I'm seeing that being erased, we are fighting tooth and nail. So this misinformation campaign, we see it, we know what's going on. And here's the worst part. There are anti-protesters that were protesting for Amit Shah, and the videos are on Instagram, and they're being charged 500 rupees a dihadi.
Yeah.
We can't share those posts. That's how big Instagram and Facebook is in this. They have not allowed people internationally to share posts that might shed BJP in a bad light. Secondly, people in Punjab cannot share posts that describe what is happening by Adnanis and Ambanis in other areas of India. I have friends who are trying to share my posts. Instagram is not allowing them to do so.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, we have been aware of this. That's why hashtags are such a big deal.
Yep.
We keep our hashtags clean. We report. So, for instance, this Payal Rastogi or whatever, we have been reporting her for the last 17, 18 days. Not one person, but people across America, Canada, England, Germany, France. Not a single post has been removed.
Wow.
And she's shedding hatred. Such a dumb woman. They're saying she's not bullying, she is not harassing, she's not doing any of that. Yeah, So yeah, we're aware of it. It's the same thing. It's the same thing as Trump supporters. Facebook and Instagram was supporting them. Facebook and Instagram is supporting these IT cells of the BJP. We see it. And we are doing what we can.
Yeah. What is the role of our national media or mainstream media in India?
So here's what I have learned. And this is coming from someone who's worked with, Z Studios, for instance. They were one of the first people to come out and call them to call the protesters these horrible, horrible names. Now, you have to understand the investment of reliance in all these houses. You have to. So it's not, first off, it's not just Adani and Ambani. There's also this company called Cargill involved. Mm-hmm. There's also international companies that are trying to get a bite out of the agriculture in India, because India is one of the most fertile lands in the world. So everybody wants a bite of it. Now, what is happening is Reliance has an investment in a lot of companies.
Yeah.
They're part owners, right? So what happens? They speak their language. And now when we talk about Godi media, we're talking about the media who is getting whispered. They're sitting in the Godi of Modi and they're being whispered in the ear what to say and what not to say. Do I think it's bullshit? Yeah. But it's like Fox News here. Yeah. I mean...
But the Fox News here and Godi media there is a difference, because there is in America there are so many channels who are sharing the truth and nobody is going to hold them. But in India, everything is passing on through some eyes or some IT cell and things like that. So there is a difference in two.
So you do have the Quint and I want to say the Indian Express. They're not TV news channels, but they are still considered news that are being relatively fair. Is this happening? Yes. Is the media absolutely bullshit in India? Yes. What do? We fight the misinformation like this. Right. So even when the Black Lives Matter movement happened, even CNN and MSNBC showed this much of it. They didn't show the whole picture. So here's the thing. MSNBC and CNN favor left-wing and Fox favors right-wing. Neither news is never accurate. That's the other thing. Like now they're calling the protest left wing. So left wing is democracy and socialism, and right wing is like communism. You want to be left wing, And I made a Twitter post on this. Like left wing is good. You want to be democratic. You want to be socialist. You
Yeah.
do not want to be communist. Right wing is bad. So when they're saying that the government is right wing, this is bad. Don't say that. Right wing is conservative government. Left wing is liberal government. Democracies are liberal.
Yes.
But I don't think news anchors are very well educated in India. I've realized that listening to, even when this whole Sushant Singh Rajput thing was happening, like I was hitting my head against the wall. Like half the shit these guys were saying was not even like.
Yeah. वो जो एक माइंडसेट है ना मेन स्ट्रीम मीडिया के एंकर्स का, वो बहुत ही मतलब एक दे हैव देयर एक ट्रायल है, उसी पे चलना है, इधर नहीं देखना है, उधर नहीं देखना है. बट in this situation we can use social media as our hatyar.
Yeah.
But it is really strange thing happening in India कि social media से भी वो लोग चीजें हटवा देते हैं. My question is कि these social media owner sitting in outside India, they are not from India or Indian or right wing supporter. Why they are doing this?
So Facebook has a lot of investments in India. I actually have just started researching this. I don't have hardcore evidence, but Facebook has historically, for instance, they are conservative. They supported Trump. They are supporting Modi. They support Boris Johnson. So they have conservative sentiments. I don't know why, but Facebook does have investment in this. See, this is what I'm telling you. It's much bigger than just Ambani and Adani. It's this whole jal of things. But we are having a protest in front of Facebook in California on the 17th, and we'll continue to do so till Facebook gets their shit together. Like news is starting to cover it because of our protest in America. CNN is covering it. NBC was at our protest in Boston. They covered, even though they only gave us like 2-3 minutes, they were there. We are shifting our protest from state houses to media houses. We are getting organized and mobilized to send letters to more and more congressmen and senators. I think we're at like 7-8 congressmen, 1 senator. That's going to go up. The head of the UN has spoken up. Misinformation exists. Facebook is being a little poophead. We will sort it out. I mean, because the idea is to discover what's going on and to blast them on other social media platforms. You have to be like, this is what you're doing. We see it, and when it's done in the number of millions, there will be change. You just have to be organized. You have to mobilize, and you have to ignore the white noise. And Times, actually, I gave a Times interview and I made them publish in an article. Delete and block, don't engage.
Yes.
The hatred, the trolls, delete and block, because they're getting paid 2 rupees a comment and tweet. They don't have followers. They don't matter. Delete and block, delete and block. Unless you can engage with someone and change their opinion, someone you know personally, someone you know that is a real account. If you know someone is just spreading hatred, delete and block, because it takes away their power, and blast them and tell other people to do the same. Why? Because they're only there to instigate. Don't let these people take your energy away. Don't let small things take your energy away, because it takes away from the bigger focus. And the bigger focus is to get all eyes on India. The more eyes on India right now, the less likely they are to violate human rights. More pressure on them to repeal the laws. That is the goal. Do not, argue with dumb members of our community who are, I don't know. There was a member of our community, of the greater Indian community in Massachusetts, who drove by the protest.
I suffer a lot and blocked more than 200 people. Within the communities, okay, you go and support more right wing in India. You are sending money to, encourage them to do this. दो बिल बनाए, एक को amendment किया, and everything going on by ordinance. There is no talk with the people you are making a law or bill for them. Never.
Yeah.
So
So
ordinance
here,
तो ordinance means like you are living in democracy. You are not the Raja Maharaja कि आपने हुक्म चला दिया.
let me give you an example. For instance, artis. They took away artis, which was a small fish, and threw in corporates. What they don't understand is what the RTAs do for farmers, right? Being a farmer's daughter, I know they're like the ATM source for farmers throughout the year, because farmers only get an income once a year, right? When the crop is full and you can sell it. So the RTAs take 1 to 2% profit, which is kind of like their service tax, you can say. And they obviously go and sell at a higher price. But the RTAs work as kind of like, okay, you're selling here, this didn't sell, we're selling this to the government. So the people who wrote these bills took out the RTA without understanding that farmers also go to the RTAs to borrow money, and that they work better for the farmers than the banks, because the banks are corporate. And small farmers who only have 1 to 2 acres don't know how to work with the banks, but know and work with the RTAs. And the bills, none of the bills substitute for that. So that's where the understanding is lacking, right? They took out a small fish, or like a big fish in a small pond, and threw in sharks. Yeah, without putting a buffer, without keeping the safety nets, because the RTA were the ones selling to these people.
But there is no RTN, they just dissolve it. There is no RTN.
That's what I'm saying. They're not understanding what the RTA were to farmers, right? They don't understand that. Say if I was living in India and it was my wedding, right? And we have big farms. My grandfather, my father would still go to the RTAs and be like, we have to buy this much gold, we have to buy this much this. Hey, give us this money. This produce is going to be ready at this month. Then you can make your money. That would still happen, right? Right now, how did my parents pay for my wedding jewelry? They paid on a credit card, right? That's what RTA are.
Yeah.
Right? And because they never talk to the farmers, they don't understand that.
They are very clever. First, they dissolve RT, and then they start implying billing and bills, or pass ordinances.
Yeah, the understanding of how farming works and what is happening, they should have discussed with them. Here's the other thing. I also understand that there needs to be a change, right? Because the government had food in stockholds, right? What was currently happening was not, it's working, but it's not working kind of at the level that it was. But deregulation is not the solution. More regulations are. So in America, the issue with Facebook that people are having in America is that there's no regulation of the internet. Facebook is buying out its competitors. So what needs to happen in the farming market is more regulations, more watch of this needs, not just in farming, all over India.
Over there, yep.
In every field, more regulation and tightening of how things are happening. It is not okay for I think 2 to 3 families to have 90% of the wealth in India. It is not okay. There essentially is not a middle class in India. Even my family, and I come, like, they were pretty well-to-do farmers, and like we lived well. Even when we go back, like our farms are there, we live pretty well, but like we were not considered rich in India.
Of course.
They're, like, not even middle class. There is no middle class in India.
There is no middle class left. Yeah. And if you do not have middle class, you will die.
Yeah.
जो प्रोटेस्ट है, ये प्रोटेस्ट किसी अंजाम तक पहुंचेगा, सुनी जाएगी इनकी बात, क्योंकि हमने देखा शाहीन बाग में औरतें 100 days बैठी रहीं and nothing happened.
ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਬੋਕ ਦੇ ਸਿੰਘਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਹੱਥ ਪਾ ਲਿਆ. So there's a difference between, now let me make it very frank, there's a difference between Punjab and the rest of India. When your ladies were sitting in Shaheen Bagh, nobody across the globe protested.
Nobody.
You're gonna tell me my grandmother is on sale for 100 rupees. You damn well bet I'm gonna kick your behind to the curb.
Yep.
You want to say something, say it. Don't instigate me.
Yeah.
You instigate me. You raise a finger on my grandmother. you damn well bet you're going to light a fire in me that's not going to be easily quenched. And that was their mistake. Had they not called my grandfathers terrorists, had they not said that my grandmothers are on sale, had they left us alone and let them protest it, maybe things would have been calm. But for a Jat, their Jameen and their mother are at the same level. You don't do that shit and think we're going to sit calm. Maybe had protests not erupted all over the world, had you not insulted our grandparents like that, maybe nothing would have happened. But you damn well bet we're going to make sure all eyes on you. We're going to make sure that you have to do something. We're going to make sure that you are so damn embarrassed that no Jat or any other Kisan in India votes for you again, because they know what you're up to. And you know what? Majority of voters in India, they're Kisans. So too bad, done with you.
Yeah. I can understand your anger and I can understand your frustrations.
But Andiji, what the bigger thing people don't understand is the level of organization that Punjabi communities have globally. That's what they did not understand. They assumed that the Punjabi Sikh community globally is like the rest of the Indian community, where, oh, okay, this is happening. Okay. No, bro, we mobilize.
Yeah.
And the reason we mobilized.
Yeah, आज मैं कुछ इंटरव्यूज देख रही थी, तो जो हमारी क्योंकि विमेन भी आ गई हैं, अब तो विमेन भी बैठी हुई हैं वहाँ, एंड दे सेड दैट कि हम तो 6 महीने का राशन हमारे पास है और 1 साल का हम पीछे छोड़ कर आए हैं. तो दे आर वेरी ऑर्गेनाइज्ड मोर देन शाहीन बाग तो बहुत रैंडम
I mean, this was pretty random too, but like what they didn't understand is even globally.
Yes.
Like here in America, we're very, very, very organized. There's very organized ways in which we're doing things. This isn't somebody's waking up doing this. If somebody, for instance, 8 people in, I want to say somewhere in Canada did the Khalistan Nare. And that caught on to national TV. They were contacted and said not to do that.
Yeah.
That's how organized this is.
Wonderful.
And it's not one person organizing it. The Sikh community is they're organically organized and organically mobilized.
Yeah.
Why? Because we've learned from our past mistakes. We've learned that in order to have power, whether that's politically, economically, in any way, we need to stand together. We stand behind any politician that we endorse. Yep. We stand behind any issue we pick up. And the only reason this happened is because we felt our elders were being insulted. The youth globally would not have turned up in the numbers that they did had they not had the government not done this defamation and this misinformation campaign. Like I will tell you personally, when Kangana tweeted that, I wanted to rip her apart. That was the sentiment.
So Diljit Dosanjh took the stand and answer her every silly question she did. But anyway, being an American or being an Punjabi outside the India, you think कि जो कुछ असर होगा यहाँ से?
Yeah.
उन लोग के लिए.
So what is so we had, I want to say 3-4 congressmen get together. I forgot his name. Very big so we have a Sikh caucus in Congress. So they wrote a letter to Mr. Sandhu, our foreign minister. No, India's ambassador to America. We had the Prime Minister of Canada, Justin Trudeau.
Yeah, they did that.
Yeah, you're telling me that's not going to put pressure? Boris Johnson is an idiot and needs 3 slaps, but we had 36 MPs write a letter to their foreign secretary and asking him to intervene. France is waking up. There are protests in Germany. There were protests in Switzerland. So these small countries, the Sikh vote in Punjabi vote matters. They'll speak up. Within the next 2 to 3 weeks, you're going to see actually the Indian government is already under pressure.
इट
You're
इज,
gonna
आई कैन सी दैट, क्योंकि
you're
आज
gonna
उनके जितने भी इंटरव्यूज और टीवी चैनल सो कॉल्ड मेन स्ट्रीम मीडिया, दे आर सेइंग टुकड़ा टुकड़ा ग्रुप, दे आर सेइंग सम एंटी नेशनल एंड सम, बट दे नेवर सेज खालिस्तानी पाकिस्तानी today only. Until yesterday they were saying okay, they Khalistani and this and that, but today nobody, never in any single media asking
yeah.
about. So it
Da
happened.
da.
It happened.
That I mean that. So just watch. When you have every major government looking at you like this with binoculars, what are you doing? What's going on? They're important. And let me tell you one thing: Modi is not well liked on the global spectrum. For the longest time, he was on the do not enter list or the terrorist list for America.
Yeah,
He was considered a terrorist in America
yeah.
because of what he did in Gujarat. So he's under a lot of pressure to make sure on a global scale he doesn't do anything messy.
Hmm. Hmm. He
Um,
needs to learn.
um, I I feel like right now we are going strong. More CNN just did a in-depth story. CNN has done multiple stories. NBC is reporting. Fox News has reported. So we're getting media coverage. Facebook is being a little shaky. We're gonna sort
Facebook,
that out
because
soon.
Insta also buy by of Facebook. So
Yep.
these both things are going together. It's okay. तो अभी मैं चलते चलते आपसे ये जरूर जानना चाहूंगी कि तमाम हमारे जो पंजाबी सिंगर्स और तमाम हमारे एक्टर राइटर सारे के सारे उसमें हैं और बोल रहे हैं, फ्लुएंटली बोल रहे हैं against these bills and in favor of farmers. So as an actor, what is your take?
Okay. As an actor, let me be quite frank. Before an actor,
Thank you so much.
before an actor, I am a farmer's daughter, a
Yes.
farmer's granddaughter. I'm also getting married into a farmer's family. Um, I am also going, if something happens to my parents, I'm also going to inherit farms. Like, you can't take that away from me. That it's who I am. Like, before I played in a playground here in America, I was playing with mitti.
Yeah.
You can't take this kind of thing that's tattooed on my forehead. You can't take it and take it away from me and try to discredit me for it. It's who I am. If you're going to threaten my heritage and my basic identity, you think I'm going to let it go? So all these people that are standing up, these Punjabi actors and actors, before they became singers, they are all farmers. They all come from the pind. They are all sons and daughters of farmers. This is all in their identity. Obviously, my farms are not in Punjab. My mom's from Haryana, my dad's from Rajasthan. So yes, I'm not Punjabi, but yes, my background is Punjabi.
Yep.
Like for generations, like my great grandfather. So right now, where we are in Rajasthan, that land was bought from Maharaja Bharpur by my family. Like that's how deep our roots are. And you're telling me you're going to take that identity away from me? Like my great grandfathers, my forefathers were dealing with Maharajas, and you're going to take that identity away from me? Like, who the hell are you? Sit down. Like, Sala Chai Wala is going to take that identity away from me. Sit down. Like, literally sit down.
Yeah, no, I understand your anger, because when Shine Bagh was happening, we were angry. इस इतनी सारी औरतें वहां बैठी हैं और परेशान हाल है यार. आपने ट्रिपल तलाक का बना दिया. 32 केस only registered for triple talaq, but in इस गवर्नमेंट को शोषे छोड़ने की आदत है. Think this government is good for the country.
No government is completely good. No government is completely bad. Now, I'm going to tell you something very honestly. To become a billionaire, Aaron, to become a president or a prime minister, you have to have a monopoly on something. You don't become a billionaire without screwing people. You don't become a high-level politician without screwing people. It doesn't happen. Do I think that maybe Modi's arms are twisted behind his back? Yeah. I don't think, because he's Gujarati, right? This hurts Gujarat as well. I don't think somebody's internal sentiments are let me screw my own people. I don't think somebody wakes up and says that. I think somehow somebody gets into a mess that they don't know how to get out of.
Mm.
But one thing is very, very clear. So I was in a Zoom conference call with another politician who is running here in the state of Massachusetts, da, da, da. And somebody spoke up that he needs to speak more on Hindu phobia in
Oh,
America.
homophobia. Okay. Oh.
So that's what she told him. And I didn't say anything, but that's the sentiment that BJP is raising. So BJP, sorry, not BJP, Modi and Trump work on the same basis. Trump is a white nationalist. You know, he's getting support from all the white racist people. What is Modi doing? He's a Hindu nationalist. He's getting support from people who want Hinduism to be a secular religion in India. And that's where his base is. So he has to do things to support them. But in this way, where he got screwed over here is that majority of the farmers are Hindus.
Mm.
So Haryana, Hindu, Gujarat, Hindu, Rajasthan, Hindu, Madhya Pradesh, Hindu, Tamil Nadu just showed up today, Hindu. So that's what happens. So when you have 250 million people protesting, this small tiny fraction is non-Hindu. Everything else is Hindu.
Yeah.
So
it's not easy to take that much people lose. He will lose the vote.
250 million people is a huge number.
Huge. I think this is the largest protest in
history. In history.
It is.
In the largest democracy in the world.
In the world.
So, I mean, he has a very good opportunity to come out on a global platform and be like, you know what? India is a democracy. We listen to our people. And the people have spoken, and this is what the people want. And I give in to the people because these are my people. He has a really good opportunity to save face and come out on top.
Absolutely. If he will lose this opportunity, he will be. I mean, what word I will use for them, for him. But as you see that this government always blaming last government or last press जो थे हमारे प्राइम मिनिस्टर.
That's what Trump does.
हाँ कि वो खामोश थे, वो बोलते नहीं थे, मौन प्राइम मिनिस्टर. But Modi ji is also not saying any single thing about anything, even for this. So what do you think?
I think he's in a very tough situation, right? If he repeals the bill, he's already saying, okay, amend it. If he repeals the bill, his friends Ambani and Adnani, who have basically financing this, they've already registered companies. They registered Adnani's registered their agricultural companies in 2019.
Yeah.
He's fearing looking weak on a global scale. However, it is in his interest to come out as a Democratic leader because first he only had his opposition party speaking against him. Now he has his own party's people speaking against him. Like I know Dushyant Chautala spoke up, and he's part of BJP. Their organization is part of BJP.
Yeah.
So more and more BJP leaders are speaking up. Like you're dissolving your own party if you don't act swift and fast.
Yes,
yeah. But that's my 2 cents on this. Oh, you wanna know something else? So the past couple of days, so I'm very anti-Trump as well. So whenever I post anti-Trump, I lose followers, and I've been losing followers almost 100 a day at this rate.
Wow, look at this.
Yeah. So
अपने बच्चों को उनके फ्यूचर को हर्ट करना नहीं चाहते. That's it. I think इसके अलावा farmers are not asking for anything else.
Yeah.
You know, they don't want to lose their zameen. That's it.
Yeah.
So anything else you want to say to farmers?
I just want to say this, that in every single face that I see my grandfather. And both my grandfathers, they lived their entire life as farmers, and I can just see them rolling in their graves. I know their spirits are very, very upset. This is for them. For my family members back in India, I'm praying for your safety. To my grandmothers, especially my current grandmother, thank you for teaching me what a feminist is and how to have a voice.
Yes. Yes.
And to the media,
Yep.
don't insult our grandmothers and mothers. Don't do it because you're asking for a fight that you can't win.
Yeah.
And someone who's seen her grandmother toiling and working and the honesty that goes behind this, like when you insult somebody's integrity,
Hmm.
that's a different level of an insult.
Absolutely.
You
Absolutely.
don't come after our grandparents. Don't do it.
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल.
You're because like you're asking. Yes, when 84 happened, Sikhs were not as powerful as they are now. But
No.
now you're asking for a mess that you can't get out of. Don't do it.
Yeah. Yeah. So thank you so much for giving me time, Monica, and we will talk on your film career soon. But today is all about the
This.
farmer and your protest, and you are very active in the community. So that's why I want to talk to you and want to know. And I'm sorry, I feel really sorry. You cracked down so many time in between talking. So, but it is obvious. Yes, it's very touchy moment for you. It's very sentimental. So it's natural or wishing you good luck, wishing you or the all farmers good luck. Thank you so much, darling.
Thank you, Auntie T. Love you. See you soon.
Thank you.
Okay? Bye.
Bye bye.